Welcome to the Halcyon radio podcast. My name is Elsie, and I will be your guide to the small, magical town of Halcyon. I'll start the story at the beginning of my journey to Halcyon. I could hear the shower of 1,000 drops hitting the ground from inside the building, but it didn't slow me down. The usual heavy door, now heavier from the autumn wind, pushed back against me, and I knew this would be the last time I'd press against it. As it creaked open, the wind hit my face. Cold and sharp, it mingled with the spray of rainwater and scattered amber leaves that danced past my shoulders, waking me up to what was really out there, what was waiting for me. Life, raw, uncertain, unplanned. The rent I could never quite afford, the food that never settled my stomach, the friendships that existed only as long as I was succeeding, this city that chewed me up the second I got here and never even bothered to spit me out. It had been 3 long, grueling years. I wondered if I ever really wanted this life, or if I just liked the idea of becoming someone who could survive it. I watched my health deteriorate, my relationships become achievement-based transactions, my sense of self dissolved into a marketing job I never wanted in the first place. And now I was walking out of those doors for the last time. The sounds of my boss's voice looped in my mind like a broken recording. Low performance, no go-get-'em attitude, not a team player. They spun around in my head until my stomach churned. I thought of all the hours I'd poured into that place, the sleepless nights, the mornings where sunlight hit my eyes before I even left the office, the stress that gnawed at me endlessly, the smiles I forced, the jokes I laughed at, the space I shrunk myself into just to try to belong to something I somehow knew I never would. But where did I belong? It was a question I asked often and then buried deep inside myself, convincing myself this was it. I used to think the city was a test, one I just had to pass. If I worked hard enough, smiled often enough, tried long enough, maybe the city would reward me, but it never did. It only asked for more. Now the sounds of the streets were everywhere. People ran beneath umbrellas, ducked into buildings, splashing through puddles scattered with golden leaves. One of my now ex-coworkers rushed past me, someone who used to laugh with me in meetings. She barely looked at me. She already knew. Maybe they all knew before I did. The rain soaked through me, but it didn't matter. Warm tears were already sliding down my cheeks, meeting the droplets on my lashes, washing away the $50 mascara I had just bought the week before. Above me, the clouds looked like stains smeared across the sky. I looked up only briefly. The rain kept falling, indiscriminate and endless. It wasn't personal, but in that moment, it felt personal. I couldn't go back to my empty apartment, filled with things I knew would soon be repossessed. Nothing there meant anything anymore. That's when I saw it. A lone, self-driving cab idling on the road, its windshield dotted with clinging maple leaves. I got in. I hadn't realized how cold I was until then. My arms were covered in goosebumps, and I was shivering. I'd left my jacket inside, knowing I would never see it again. That perfect suede coat, velvety brown on the outside, soft tan on the inside, sprayed to withstand rain. It felt like a hug. It was the first thing I'd bought with my first paycheck in the city, back when I thought I'd made it. but I didn't know what making it actually meant or what it would feel like. The cab was warm, comforting. A robotic voice echoed softly through the car. Where to? But my mind was foggy. I hadn't slept in days. The last project had eaten into every part of my life, leaving me with migraines, night terrors, an aching stomach, under-eye bags that no cream or medication could fix. Doctors were puzzled. I was running on coffee and quinoa and pure survival. There was a time I used to daydream about quiet places. I'd imagine a garden, a cat, sunlight filtering through autumn branches and casting dancing shadows on the ground. But somewhere in the scramble to be someone, I forgot what it felt like to want something other than this life. My eyes grew heavy. My mind drifted. Clouds, soft light, a melody in the distance, the rustle of falling leaves. The voice came again, gentle but persistent. Where to, young lady? In a whisper, with the image of blooming flowers and sunlight on my skin beneath a tree heavy with crimson leaves, I murmured, take me somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful, someplace calm. Before I knew it, I was slumped in the back seat, fast asleep. The robot did a quick web search and started driving. 6 hours and $1,000 fare later, I stirred awake to the same patient, robotic voice. You have arrived. It repeated itself twice before I truly heard it. I blinked. It was dark. But outside the cab window, over gentle, grassy hills near the edge of a forest, painted in autumn's glory, I saw a small village bathed in golden light, cobblestone streets, porch lamps glowing amber, flower baskets overflowing from carved wooden poles, dotted with late-season sunflowers nodding sleepily in the evening breeze. Trees, oak, maple, and willow, placed with intention, their branches heavy with rust and gold. A park at the end of the road, benches, a playground, blooming flowers that looked like they never stopped, even as scattered leaves danced around their stems. Fairy lights twinkled in the shop windows, strung around trees whose branches dropped with the occasional leaf that spiraled down like confetti, casting a soft shimmer over everything. The town felt like a whisper, like something sacred. Even the fireflies near the forest seemed magical, darting up tree trunks, spiraling like they were chasing each other through branches, heavy with the season's final gifts. I didn't know if this place was real, or if I had finally broken, but for the first time in a long while, I didn't want to go back to the grind, the non-stop city, the disconnect. To my right sat a brick building, aged, warm, imperfect in the loveliest way. Its wooden roof carved gently with time, a lattice of hand-carved beams stretched outward like arms. The eaves dipped and curled, adorned with floral carvings, careful work, the kind done by someone who loved what they were making. Ivy climbed its walls, touched with the first blush of autumn red. The brass handle on the door gleamed in the light. A simple sign hung above it, gently swaying with text reading in. The robotic voice said again, "You have arrived. Your total is $1,010.40. My heart sank. Where am I? I asked. The robot replied, somewhere quiet, peaceful, and calm. This is Halcyon. Panic began to rise in my chest. $1,000? How far from the city am I? I've never even heard of this place. I didn't mean, please, I can't afford this. The voice responded, payment is required or I must notify the authorities. I apologize for the inconvenience. The door's locked. I had just enough left in my account. Hands shaking, I fumbled for my card and scanned it. The metallic voice said, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. The door clicked open. Sometimes the softest places arrive only after we've unraveled, as if they've been waiting, not for who we were trying to be, but for the moment we let go. I stepped onto the cobblestone road, a few amber leaves crunching softly beneath my feet. The rain had stopped. The sign for the inn swung gently above me, and I caught the sweet scent of late blooming sunflowers carried on the autumn breeze. I stood beneath it, and I stepped inside. Thank you for listening to the Halcyon radio podcast. Please join me for chapter 2.